My name is Pagan Pagioni. I am with the Interstate Renewable Energy Council, and I'm joined today by national, state, and local partners, Dr. Christopher Small from the National Community Action Partnership, Destiny Murrell from the Oklahoma Department of Commerce, Kari Nichols from Project Home, and Jordan D. Rankin from Energy Outreach Colorado. Thrilled to be here with you all today, and looking forward to diving into conversation with these great folks. But first, let's just go through a couple of housekeeping notes and reminders. All participants are on mute. You are invited to use the Q&A feature in the Zoom in your Zoom screen to ask us any questions. We'll leave time for questions and discussion at the end of the webinar. We have closed captioning available. Select show caption from the control toolbar at the bottom of your screen to enable. We do have an IREC policy around not accepting artificial intelligence note takers or bots participating in our webinars. So any that join will be removed and not allowed to re-enter. And we thank you for your understanding and cooperation there. Lastly, the presentation slides, the recording, and any links or follow-up resources will be shared with you early next week. And so I'm from the Interstate Renewable Energy Council. If you're not familiar with our work, we're a national nonprofit. We've been around for more than 40 years, and we build the foundation for the rapid adoption of clean energy and energy efficiency to benefit people, the economy, and our planet. And we advance this 100% clean energy future through three complementary pathways. Workforce development, that's the team that I'm on. We lead efforts to grow a qualified clean energy and energy efficiency workforce. We also have our local clean energy solutions group that helps cities, counties, and towns with technical assistance, policy tools, and resources. And we also have our regulatory group that advances regulatory policies to support the growth of distributed energy resources. And, it's going backwards. Sorry about that, folks. So workforce development through our National Clean Energy Workforce Alliance and the direct work that we've done to support the Weatherization Assistance Program. We hear similar themes and messaging all across the country from employers. Everywhere we're investing in the energy economy of the future, we're installing energy systems to make our communities more resilient. And in the Weatherization Assistance Program, we're also working to make homes more energy efficient, safer, and more comfortable. And all of this growth means that there are a lot of opportunities for employees and contractors with expertise and background in construction, electrical work, mechanical work, among many other areas. And we also know that while there are many opportunities, we really need to raise awareness and better connect to the workforce that is needed. So workforce development for the Weatherization Assistance Program through IREC has been we've been involved with the Weatherization Assistance Program for a number of years, developing grantee and sub-grantee administrative training that you find in wap.litmos.com, the accreditation and credentialing for training providers through IREC's accreditation program, and the Green Buildings Career Map, and most recently, over the last couple of years, through a Weatherization Assistance Program enhancement and innovation project, really focused on workforce development, raising awareness, and connecting job seekers, students, and contractors to opportunities within the program. I want to acknowledge the Department of Energy for the funding that supported this work, and also all of our national, state, and local partners, some of whom you'll be hearing about today. And so why does workforce development matter? Why are we here? So we know that weatherization careers and people that are working in this space are critical to energy savings and safe and comfortable housing across the country. The growing demand for weatherization services, coupled with an aging workforce, really means there's an urgent need to connect to, train, and hire new talent. And many people across the country just lack exposure or access to these career pathways or opportunities to expand their contracting businesses. So on the employer side, we continue to hear from them, as I referenced earlier, around barriers to hiring, which include lack of awareness about weatherization and careers as home energy professionals, limited access to training, apprenticeships, and mentors. It's often challenging to connect to local opportunities, so navigational challenges and figuring out how to get started. And then sometimes financial hurdles like required tools or safety equipment, transportation, or childcare. So this table here is from the 2024 U.S. Energy and Employment Report, which also highlighted that, even though there's these challenges, there's still 2.3 million people employed in energy efficiency roles. And in 2023, which is the year the report covers, energy efficiency added the most jobs of any technology, with a gain of about 74,000 jobs. So and then on the weatherization side, where are the opportunities? Because even though there's challenges, there's lots of opportunity. The growing demand for energy efficiency careers, emerging technology and the impact on job creation. So for example, lots of agencies in the Weatherization Assistance Program network are exploring solar or participating in community solar projects. And then raising awareness and expanding access to network needs. The vacancy rate by job type is recent data from the 2024 NASCASP wage survey, and just indicates that from that survey, there's a vacancy rate of over 300 weatherization providers across the nation. So on the IREC side and our project side, all of this, the challenges and engagement work with the network regarding what solutions might be most helpful as far as raising awareness and providing workforce development tools, resources, and templates to the network, culminated in the launch of greenworkforceconnect.org, which is IREC's overall workforce development strategy to make better connections between students, job seekers, career switchers, and the employers, contractors, subgrantees, and training providers across the country that can help them take their next best step. So challenges, again, weatherization program specific, what we heard talking to over 750 stakeholders during project design was that, and job seekers, with that they don't know about the career pathways available. Workforce development resources are often fragmented and challenging to find. And local program providers, the employers, subgrantees, need help sometimes connecting to new audiences, particularly with respect to raising national awareness of the Weatherization Assistance Program workforce and the opportunities that national program offers. And then contractors don't know how to connect to available opportunities. So our Green Workforce Connect initiative aims to address these challenges across the workforce ecosystem and provide solutions that raise awareness and help local employers and training providers build talent pipelines to draw from. I think throughout the conversation today, you'll hear about resources that you might find within Green Workforce Connect. We'll make sure that links are put in the chat as we're chatting today, and we'll also send them out afterwards. So currently we have over 135 subgrantees. Actually, I think the count this morning was 142 agencies listed across 10 states, and we're actively working with state partners to onboard more states and create new state spotlight pages, so keep an eye out. And on the impact side, We piloted this program in Oklahoma, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin, and those were the three states that were featured in Green Workforce Connect up until last October when we started our national expansion. And the agencies that participated in our pilot program saw a reduction in time to hire for key weatherization field roles from 6.5 months to 4.9 months. And during the course of the pilot period, saw the size of their weatherization workforce increase 20%. And overall, Green Workforce Connect has had over 38,000 unique users have visited the platform and heard, seen, and read about opportunities in the Weatherization Assistance Program and home and building energy performance. And on that note, I want to welcome our panelists and the speakers that are joining me today, Chris, Destiny, Jordan, and Kari, and welcome you all to my living room with the fire burning. We are going to, I'm just going to stop sharing for a minute so that we can all have a chat more easily. But the fire is still, it's still burning in the background. So welcome, everyone. Thank you. Each of you has been a part of the Green Workforce Connect initiative and helping us to design, implement, make all of this work possible to raise awareness of the weatherization workforce and build tools, resources, and templates to help agencies connect to new job seekers and contractors. And I'm just going to jump right in. So, Destiny, I'm going to put you on the spot. What are some of the biggest challenges that you faced in recruiting to meet your weatherization workforce needs in Oklahoma, and what strategies have been most successful for you?
Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm Destiny Morrell. I work with the Oklahoma Department of Commerce. I'm the Weatherization Workforce and Community Liaison with ODOC, and I've been here for almost 2 years. So I'm still new to weatherization and everything. But Oklahoma has 6 weatherization agencies that serve all 77 counties across the state. And one of our biggest challenges in recruiting has been with both attracting and retaining workers, largely due to our lack of awareness about weatherization careers. For example, some of our agencies lack or have a struggle with attracting new, using effective marketing tools so within their service areas, and some of them are hesitant to adopt new technologies that could enhance their recruitment efforts, particularly on social media. So ODAC has observed and disparities in weatherization workforce marketing across different regions in the state. This variation is particularly evident in rural areas, whereas agencies primarily rely on word of mouth referrals and like newspaper advertisements. In contrast, other agencies in our metropolitan area use social media, websites, and radio ads, and also broadcasting flyers. And so, to address these challenges, Oklahoma has become one of the pilot agencies with IREC as well, and which has supported our development in new and improved marketing strategies. Additionally, another challenge is finding employees who possess valid driver's licenses as well, which is often a recruit requirement for weatherization roles. But even though we have a few challenges with recruiting for weatherization, we have found some successful strategies, such as hosting our monthly meetings with our subgrantee agencies at the Oklahoma Association of Community Action Agencies, so OCA. This is also an IREC accredited training center in Edmond, Oklahoma. These meetings serve as a platform for these meetings serve as a platform to assess how the state can best support our community action agencies in all the aspects of weatherization. So we have discussions about workforce updates, technical assistance, quality assurance, and local, state, and federal weatherization updates. And ODOC believes that our monthly meetings are beneficial to workforce outreach strategies. And another successful strategy that we've had was that on October 30th, ODOC hosted a public event inviting each of our subgrantee agencies to host a booth showcasing their respective weatherization programs. The event brought together various groups of participants, including local nonprofits, high school and middle schoolers, the Oklahoma State University Industrial Assessment Center, the Oklahoma Department of Human Services, LIHEAP program, and the Public Service Company of Oklahoma. Additionally, there was also news broadcasting stations covered the event and further amplifying our awareness for weatherization efforts. ODOC has also honored to receive an officially approved and signed state proclamation recognizing that October 30th as Weatherization Day in Oklahoma. So that's been a few of our successes and challenges.
Thank you. I hear you on the challenges, the differences between rural areas and more urban areas and different opportunities to access, technology to support outreach. I think those monthly meetings, and we all know from lots of our work that those regular check-ins and ideation sessions and opportunities to connect with others, like folks are doing in the chat right now, really make a difference in raising awareness and building peer network that can support our efforts. So my next question kind of ties into some of what Destiny was saying around, how do we reach audiences that are unfamiliar with weatherization or energy efficiency career pathways? And Jordan, I'll ask you for your thoughts there.
Yes, so in my experience, the most effective thing you can do is to be the one to simply seek out people and be prepared to be educational. I come into this position having actually started my career as a high school educator, teaching math and physics. I even worked for an electrical trade association doing workforce development. And I was not really aware of weatherization or energy efficiency until I had this role. And I'm not alone. So whenever I do go out in the community, no matter who it is I'm speaking to, I always ask them, what do you know about weatherization? What do you know about energy efficiency? And I give them some background so that they can internalize it and realize that, hey, they've actually experienced that in their own lives, and this is a very good career opportunity. In particular, I like to point out pre-apprenticeship programs. I've had a lot of success in the Denver metro area, reaching out to different pre-apprenticeship programs that offer education with constructions and the skilled trades in mind. These programs aren't always aware of weatherization. So when I come to them, I can educate them that, hey, this is a huge career opportunity and a way for your participants to get their foot in the doorway of the skilled trades. And then I can share with them resources from Green Workforce Connect to further help them with learning what weatherization is and to equip them with the skills to go ahead and start applying some of this knowledge within their own programs.
I love hearing that Green Workforce Connect is useful. If folks have favorite tools or resources that they've found on the platform, feel free to share with others in the chat that might not know about them. Kari, how about you? You're another local agency and you're directly involved in recruitment and outreach. What are some ways that you reach audiences?
So yes, I work for Project Home, and we are a weatherization agency in Wisconsin that serves 2 of our counties here in Wisconsin. And we were also a pilot agency for the Green Workforce Connect platform. So I've actually used quite a few resources on the Green Workforce Connect site. So I'm going to talk about a couple things. I think one of the easiest things is just to create a social media campaign. Destiny had talked about that, getting things out on social media. Whether you're hiring or not, you can use all of the graphics and the content that they have out at Green Workforce Connect just to create awareness about these types of jobs and careers. There's social media graphics that you can customize, put your message on. There's links to their actual video stories of people who are in the weatherization field. And you can make videos of people that work at your own agency and have them talk about their career and how they got to be where they're at. And one of the cool things that we used was some of the career pathway templates that they have on the Green Workforce Connect site to highlight some of our employees. We have employees that have been here for 20 years, 15 years, 10 years, and they've moved through different positions within our agency. So it's good in the recruiting effort to let people know, like, look at some of the career paths of the people that are currently at our agency. So all those resources make it really easy to do these social media campaigns and to use in your recruiting efforts, to use when you're posting for jobs. And then the other thing that I think is a really good way to reach audiences is to partner with local organizations that serve particular groups and helps them to find employment. So you can go out to those organizations, present about your company, talk about the weatherization careers. Recently, I saw that there was a Women in Construction Week and we missed it. I don't know, somehow I didn't get in the invite list for that, and they had a job fair and I would have loved to have gone out and done that job fair. But I reached out to the organizations. There were like 3 organizations that put that together and said, hey, you know, don't forget about Project Home next year. We'd love to be a part of this event. And one of those individuals got back to me and said, we'd love to have you come out and talk about weatherization careers. And so those are the kinds of ways, just like Jordan said, you know, reach out to people, like think about the different connections that you have where you can actually go out and talk to people about these careers and about your agency. You know, always be on the lookout to for these potential opportunities.
You can talk about weatherization careers anywhere. I've talked to Uber drivers, people in the checkout line, like since I've been working in this space, like have you heard about these great career pathways? You can start entry level and work your way up. And the career stories, thanks for highlighting that, Kari, because that came up over and over again in our work with job seekers. You know, they really kept saying, you know, who are the people that work here? Are there, you know, what are their backgrounds? Is there space for me? So I love that you not only took advantage of the career story features that we put out, but started telling stories of your own employees as well. Chris, from a national partner perspective, what are your thoughts on reaching audiences unfamiliar with these career pathways?
I think that reaching audiences on a national level requires a intentional local focus. And I think Jordan and I coming up here are going to talk a little bit about some of those in our next question there. But I can't overemphasize that the local context and the local relationships that are built, be it through a local workforce development board that are out there, or a really, really untapped resource is a high school counselor and a high school counseling situation that exists I would encourage folks to put together a listing of local high school counselors that are both accessible but are starved for contact in a situation like we're talking clean energy and specifically weatherization. You know, NCAP, we represent the sub-grantees across the country as what that are weatherization providers, obviously, but also non-CAA weatherization providers. So reaching out to high school counselors, I know this to be true because I'm married to a retired high school counselor. They are craving this kind of interaction. And I just want to throw a bone to what Andrea said in the chat earlier. Education is the key. Grabbing students in that 14 to 18-year-old time frame when career exploration may not be at the top of their list is truly life-changing for them, but can be a source of stable workforce as we look at those entry-level positions going forward. Many high school counselors not only want to hear career stories of successful folks that are recruiting job fairs, but they want to tie their students to those. And I'd also give a shout out to there are many folks here in the chat that are from the community college environment. I think Jordan and I will talk about that upcoming here in how that partnership with community colleges and technical colleges can be a gold mine for that pathway.
Nice tie-in from our last question to our next one, and appreciate the plug there for sure for our high school guidance counselors and connecting with local schools and community colleges and CTE programs. Jordan, what role do you think community partners play in workforce development strategy, and what types of organizations should agencies be thinking about collaborating with?
So that's the good news with weatherization is this is an industry that is adjacent to the skilled trades and construction, and both of those industries have so many awesome different organizations out there helping recruit to these positions. So I would again highlight pre-apprenticeship programs. I know Destiny kind of mentioned this earlier. Some of the struggle with finding quality job seekers is that oftentimes they're lacking in things like soft skills. They might not understand what an apprenticeship is. They may not have certifications. They might not have their driver's license. Well, all the pre-apprenticeships I've been able to find and work with in the Denver area, not only do they get them hands-on training for basic skilled trades work, but they also cover soft skills. They also sit with them and help them get that driver's license. They give them personal finance education. They are doing what they need to do to make that program participant as employable as they can. And a lot of times they have more participants looking for jobs than they do have partner contractors and agencies to help find them jobs. So if you reach out and let them know that you're looking to hire weatherization techs, they are probably going to be able to send you participants your way. I'd also point out that partnering with the right organizations is key to retention. I don't want to sugarcoat it. Weatherization work is not always glamorous. It's hard. It's a starting position, but it is so important, and it really does make a meaningful change in people's lives. I wish I could just wave my magic wand so that you could all pay your employees more, but I also understand the limitations that comes with this role. That's why organizations that are working in weatherization need to really be intentional on providing their employees other ways that they can get ahead in life. Oftentimes, people who are coming into weatherization are looking for guidance in life and trying to establish a career. They need effective role models and leaders within their organization that they can aspire to be. They need people to take ownership in their own potential and show them that they can be a leader in an organization. They need to be connected to different resources that can help them establish their own career and their own families outside of work. One example I want to highlight, I just met this organization recently in Colorado. It's called WeCycle. And what they do is they take, babies' essentials, and they help recycle them and get them out to people in need. Oftentimes, there are people who are working in these trades who are dealing with struggles around childcare and just being able to provide for their family. So this is an outside the box way that an organization can show that we care about you, we care about your family, and we want to give you the tools to be successful in life.
Thanks, Jordan, and especially for that reference to the need for wraparound services and sometimes more personal support. If you're really looking for the right candidate, they'll come, but sometimes people need a little bit extra help navigating how to get started in a new career pathway. Chris, I know you talked about partnering with high schools. I'm just curious if you have anything to add to what you said before and what Jordan
I do.
talked about.
I do. I'd like to piggyback on Jordan's piece there, because sometimes we talked about partnering with the school environment, but how do we connect? How do we bring something to the table that might be of use to that high school guidance counselor? In what Jordan was mentioning about the soft skill arena, sometimes students need an opportunity for someone to believe in them. They need a role model, and they need a place to see where they might go. There are opportunities that our programming, our work in weatherization and clean energy can partner with existing programs in schools, such as Project Lead the Way. Some people might have heard of that. Project Lead the Way is a STEM-based skill set program that many high schools have. Another program that is in high schools that is growing is Jobs for America's Graduates, JAG, which helps students that are from at promise or at risk environments that need a little boost, but with a square focus upon workforce development and soft skill development. And another one would be the ACT Skilled Through Alternative Means, or the STARS. Some of us have taken the ACT or the SAT. Those are three tangible examples of programming that a particular counselor may not be aware of, that we can bring something to the table with kids that are at promise or at risk. So I would add that and piggyback that Jordan as a former teacher, brings to the table, that we are always looking and always focusing on outcomes with students. So with that, I will pass back to you, Megan.
Thank you. So, if we're talking about getting folks interested in these careers, Kari, what are some effective ways that you've found to introduce job seekers to these careers?
Well, one of the things that we do each year is we have a partnership with a technical college here in Madison. It's called Madison College. And during this time, we've actually already done one here in the spring. They have full day or half day internships, or they call them, but they're really kind of job shadows. So we'll host 2 or 3 students, maybe 2 or 3 times during the spring and summer, to have them come out and shadow our weatherization crews and also our residential energy auditors. It's kind of fun to have them come out and shadow with an auditor, because that's when they go in and they do the energy performance assessment of the home and figure out what the home needs to become more energy efficient, and then go out with an actual weatherization crew and see them doing the weatherization work that's dictated by the energy audit. And we've gotten a really good response on that. Like it's a really cool job shadow experience for students. So we try to do that 2 or 3 times each year. Another thing we do is I look for classes that local organizations are putting on to teach the trades to people. So the Urban League of Greater Madison, every year they do, and I think they do it 2 times a year, they have a 6-week course called Foundation for the Trades. And as part of that class, they like to do a field trip for their students. So we did it last year, and I'm going to try to keep getting into it, but we had a group of 6 students come out to our agency on a day when all of our crew were in office. We have like a once a month like paperwork day where the crew gets to come in the office and like clean the warehouse and do organizational things. So we had them come on that day, and they got to meet all of our weatherization crew members. They got to see, our fleet and like how we have different trucks for different things. They showed them demonstrations, talked about their job. We have all kinds of really cool things in the warehouse to show them. And then I had them come in, and then we talked about career pathways and, who Project Home is. And we had some really, really interested students after that. They were like, this is a really cool job. So, doing those types of things really are beneficial and get kind of a pipeline going. And, they're going to talk about what they experienced here too. And so they'll, there's word of mouth on that. Also, we do job fairs and try to, do some general ones that are larger, that maybe are held at a college or a technical college, and then maybe some that are specific to groups. Like we have a relationship with the Latino Academy of Workforce Development, and they have their own job fairs, and we can go out there and meet diverse candidates. And I wanted to mention one of the tools that Green Workforce Connect and Pagan at IREC helped us with was customizing a postcard that we could give to the individuals, the job seekers at the career fair. They made these really cool postcards where on one side it kind of highlights Green Workforce Connect and has a QR code to get them on the site to look around and see about these careers. And then on the flip side of the postcard was information about Project Home with a QR code that goes directly to our open career opportunities page. So having those at the career fair, because they collect so many things at those career fairs, but it's nice to like just give them a postcard that has QR codes right on it, gets them directly there on their phone. And I actually use those cards for other purposes as well. I take them to my public appearances when I go talk about Project Home in general in our programs. I'll have a pile of those there in case those individuals know someone who might be looking for a job. And I also bring them to our home maintenance classes. We have our crew will go out and actually teach classes on various home maintenance subjects. I'll bring them to those so that, you know, if anyone knows of anybody looking for a career, they've got the card, they can use the QR code to find out more information about these careers. So that's a really cool thing that we got through the Green Workforce Connect relationship. So
Yeah, I love postcard handouts versus like bigger flyers. I'm all about like postcards and or even like condensing it even further on a business card because it's much easier for people to have a small takeaway than a piece of paper that they're going to fold up anyway. So I'm glad that you found that useful. And for folks on the call joining us, you can find postcard templates in the Green Workforce Connect Outreach and Engagement Toolkit. There are versions available that you can edit in Canva and add your own logos and information. Chris, did you have any thoughts on other ways to connect to job seekers?
You know, I think that the relationship building piece, I think many times we try to connect with job. You are so great, Pagan, at using the term ecosystem. I've heard you mention that many a time. The ecosystem does not happen without relationship building that starts way before the time we need the job. And I think that's where we our lives are so busy. And so those relationship pieces that start well before the need is when we can withdraw those withdrawals out of our bank, if you will. And so I would encourage people to start when they don't think they need those relationships, have those developed and foster those relationships. And then they're there when the job need arises. And I can't overemphasize that enough.
So curious. We've heard quite a few examples so far. Jordan, do you have Green Workforce Connect resources, tools, or templates that have been useful or helpful in your outreach efforts?
I certainly do. And I'll start off with, one of the favorites for not just myself, I know for the IREC stuff as well, but the coloring book. The Weatherization coloring book is such a fantastic example of the passion and attention to detail that went into all of these resources. And it's such an easy way to start educating people at a very young age about weatherization. Recently, I had the opportunity to step into a third grade class in Denver to help educate them around careers in the skilled trades, as they're with one of the electrical contractors we work with. And I brought along some of those coloring books that I printed out and shared with the students. And it was really rewarding to see them flipping through and actually seeing illustrations of people performing weatherization work. So the coloring book, fantastic example, but there are some other examples that can help with some of my previous answers I already alluded to, such as the apprenticeship glossary of terms. Apprenticeship is not the easiest nut to crack for a lot of people. We've all come to internalize it pretty effectively, but if you talk to people who are not affiliated with the skilled trades or did not come up through them, apprenticeship is something that can be a bit of a mystery. The glossary of terms really helps to break that down and give them layman terms on what everything means so that they can find their footing and really start to wrap their mind around it. This is something that is very great to share with school guidance counselors and workforce development professionals when you reach out and meet with them, or when you follow up from a connection. The weatherization presentations, these are fantastic as well. As a former educator, I am pretty adept at slideshows, but I will also tell you that I'm sick of making slideshows. I've done it thousands thousands of times in my life. So if there is a great slideshow that I can go ahead and copy and paste into my own, I'm going to do it. And I'm telling you that if you haven't looked at the presentations on the Green Workforce Hub, they are effective and they are ready to be utilized. And then finally, Matthew, I know you've been talking about this in the chat, but the IREC credentialing programs for clean energy training. I've already mentioned this, but reaching out to different pre-apprenticeship programs. And Chris Small was just talking about the overall ecosystem. There are organizations that are dedicated to nothing more than educating job seekers and preparing them for work in the skilled trades, construction, and that could be weatherization as well. So utilizing the IREC credentialing programs for clean energy trainings, when you reach out to those guidance counselors and you reach out to those CTE teachers and you reach out to those apprenticeship programs, you can provide them with this information and they can go ahead and start trying to incorporate that within their own programs so that their participants are learning about weatherization. They know that it's a career opportunity, and oftentimes they might already have some of the credentials needed to really hit the ground running.
Wow, the coloring book, it really is one of my favorites. There's a whole story attached to that we don't have time for today, but I will highlight that it was a youth artist that was contracted to help create that. And not only is it good for kids, it helped explain to my parents what the Weatherization Assistance Program is and what I'm actually doing. So it's great to use with clients whose first language is not English as well. So think about different ways that you can repurpose stuff there. And I will highlight, if somebody on our team can drop the link for the ACE network into the chat. That's another IREC-led initiative, Apprenticeships in Clean Energy Network. The glossary of terms comes from that project, but we do have technical assistance and support available to employers that are looking to add a registered apprenticeship program or join a program or add a occupation to an existing program. Thank you, Grace. And I am going to flip over to Kari, who has already talked about a lot of different resources that you have used, but is there anything else that's been useful before we move on to a next question?
Yeah, I think there are so many things that you can do, but I think a good starting point was something that I did right at the beginning when I first became a pilot agency, was to use Green Workforce Connect's career page self-evaluation rubric. But it's a really detailed kind of table spreadsheet of all the different bits and pieces that you should make sure that your career opportunity site has in order to attract candidates. You go through this exercise of, grading your current website and then seeing where you could make improvements so that your career site, functions appropriately, that you have the right message going out to your job seekers, it's easy to find, it's easy for people to apply to the jobs. And that was really cool, that whole process of just kind of taking a look at my website, making improvements so that the career page is engaging and easy to use for job seekers, because inevitably most people go to the website to look for career opportunities. So that's one thing that I think is really valuable. The other thing too is I'm working on this. I haven't finished it, but I've started it, is because those Green Workforce Connect resources are there, I want to create, and IREC is helping me to create my own learn about careers page on my website. So when people go to see what career opportunities we have, I want them to be able to go to the next site where learn about our careers. And then on that page, there will be some key links to the Green Workforce Connect site so that they can watch videos or they can learn about the specific careers. And you can have it linked to the Wisconsin statistics and information. Since I live in Wisconsin and Green Workforce Connect puts like information by state out there. You can kind of create links to that so they can see, well, what do these careers pay, you know, when you're at these different levels. So I'm working on that right now, and got a lot of guidance from Pagan and from Grace, and you know, just using them as a resource to do those things, I think is a very valuable part of this process too.
Thank
And
you.
Pagan, I also wanted to mention the job postings and like job description page on Green Workforce Connect as well. ODOC has used that to help our agencies with recreating different descriptions for their agencies. And some of our weatherization agencies have even modified their titles for their weatherization job descriptions, just to make it more accessible for people to understand what this job is. And so that page was very useful for us as well. And we've also used the transforming career pages. We had our agencies go through and grade themselves too, and to be able to have more attention grabbing details on their websites.
Yeah, that's a really key resource. Thanks, Kari, for bringing that up. Actually, you guys have reminded me of a few different resources that I have not referenced recently, and just kind of shows the breadth and depth of what we have put out. And all of it has been direct response to agency and network requests and needs. I do want to highlight that transforming your career opportunities page is applicable to any organization. You don't have to be a weatherization assistance program subgrantee. And one of the things that Kari did at Project Home was she included information for contractors on her website under her careers and opportunities page. And that's really critical if you have opportunities for contractors and you're looking for contractors, that when they go to your website, they can see that you have those openings available. In the interest of time, this has been great conversation. Jordan, I just wanted to ask you if there's any resources or tools or templates that you think would be helpful that don't exist now. And I would also like to ask our participants to join in the chat if there are resources that you would like. Please let us know, or if you think that there are tools or templates that would be helpful. Destiny, thanks for mentioning the editable job descriptions and job posting information. Anyway, Jordan.
Yes, so I've already hinted at just being able to reach out to pre-apprenticeships and educate them about weatherization. So in my mind, if there was a ready-to-go type of open source, easy-to-edit curriculum that could be shared with CTE programs or pre-apprenticeships to help them start educating in weatherization, I'm confident that a lot of them would start to apply it within their own curriculums. And one of the things that comes to mind is something I used when I was in the classroom, but Next Gen Personal Finance. This is an open source, easily editable personal finance curriculum. I utilize this in my classroom, and I saw some of you talking about gamification in the chat. They have games to teach personal finance. How awesome would it be if we had something similar with weatherization? Other resources that we could use is apprenticeships. I love to bring this one up, but Colorado Energy Office recently worked with IREC to produce a weatherization assistance program apprenticeship here in the state of Colorado. I just dropped the link to the slideshow presentation of that in the chat, but check that out. If you don't have a WAP apprenticeship in your state, that is something that could be incredibly helpful to your recruiting efforts if you're able to provide it. Please feel free to use the Colorado Energy Office template as a starting point. And that could also be a great starting point for when you go and talk to different organizations about training for weatherization as well. And then finally, I would point out something like a statewide high school endorsement. Here in Colorado, we recently rolled out the Colorado Seal of Climate Literacy. This allows high schools to adopt this, and graduating students can choose to take classes that will educate them so that they can receive this endorsement when they graduate and have a better awareness about, you know, the different green workforce opportunities that exist. And then finally, to kind of circle all the way back to where we started with weatherization, It is a great starting point for the skilled trades. You come in and a weatherization tech, they're going to have their hands on everything. They're going to be doing a little bit of plumbing. They're going to be doing a little bit of electrical. They're going to be doing a little bit of HVAC. So if agencies are able to figure out ways that weatherization techs can come in, kind of figure out what of those they like the best, and then proceed into that trade in-house, that will help them with retention as well. One of the residential weatherization agencies here in Colorado, the Energy Resource Center, they have had a lot of success with being able to promote their weatherization techs to their HVAC department under their licensed HVAC technician, where they can start obtaining their OJT and come up through that trade from within weatherization.
Thanks so much, Jordan. Wow, there's so much happening in the chat. We're going to go through everything and we will collect resource links and make sure that those are sent out with the presentation and the recording. Destiny, I'm curious, what have we maybe missed as far as outreach, digital marketing, social media? What thoughts do you have?
I would just say it's essential to emphasize careers rather than just jobs. And so by raising awareness of long-term career pathways available within weatherization industry would be very beneficial. Many individuals may be unaware of the various weatherization careers and national certifications that these roles offer. Additionally, if some sub-grantee agencies can offer career incentives for obtaining certifications, it would also help to attract more candidates in the field. Some of our agencies do provide incentives for employees who pursue additional training and certification, so which would enhance workforce development. And also, ODOC, we did a translation with some of our career flyers and brochures. We did survey some of our agencies to see who they help with the most in their service areas. And for us, it was Spanish, Mandarin, and Vietnamese. And so ODOC has now been able to try to enhance all of our flyers so that it can reach more people in those service areas too. So just thinking about those things as well.
Yeah, language is really critical. Minnesota, if folks look at the Minnesota Spotlight page on Green Workforce Connect, you can find an overview of weatherization in different languages, and super excited to share that our contractor's guide to success will be available in Spanish, likely sometime next month. So yeah, that's great to think about the different languages. Let's see, we are getting close to closing. So I'm gonna ask if our panelists can quickly cover any like key takeaways. I know we've had a question in the chat related to driver's licenses, I think, or in the Q&A related to driver's licenses and also insurance. We'll try and follow up directly. Jordan.
Yeah, so just to drive home all the points I've been talking about, strive to be educational. Everyone can educate every single day in their lives. You all are experts at what you do, and you're all here because you wanted to learn. You can also do the same. So reach out, be a connector, be educational. There is so much existing infrastructure that's just waiting to hear from you and discover what weatherization is all about.
And Destiny, last thoughts from your world.
I would say just to definitely use the transforming career pages. Just even if you're not in weatherization, it does help. It's very beneficial. Some of our agencies transform like where their career tabs are, and they changed it around just to make it more accessible to people. And also the clarity and ease of an application process and how often they follow up after an application. So that was one of the beneficial things that helped us.
And how about Kari?
I think just have your recruiting hat on at all times and always be kind of looking for opportunities to talk about these careers and partner with agencies, like when you least expect it, just because you're talking about it with someone or with an advocacy agency, they might invite you to come and speak about it, and then you have a link. And so I think just always kind of have that recruiting hat on at all times.
And Chris.
I'll be brief, but I'll piggyback off what Jordan said. We can all be learners, and we should all be learners. Piggybacking off of what he said, clean energy careers are both vertical and horizontal. Don't be afraid to reach out to people that you think don't want to hear from you, because most likely, if it's in the education arena, they do. They just don't understand. Form those relationships and then foster those relationships in a way that can yield. And I'll end with this. I believe the future is in what Jordan put in the chat, the internship, pre-apprenticeship, apprenticeship pathway or progression, grabbing students earlier in their lives, even in middle school, for awareness builds a sense of direction and utilize those relationships.
Thank you so much, all four of you, for joining me today and for your participation and engagement in this project. We do have a few more slides here. You'll all get them. It's pretty self-explanatory. New resource, we talked about this and linked it in the chat. We have some new contractor resources coming soon. I mentioned the Contractor's Guide to Success being available in Spanish, but we also have a number of other contractor resources coming. Those will be published before NHPC, and I will be at NHPC. I look forward to seeing many of you there. There's also links here to other IREC resources, so you can find all of these in the slide presentation that you will receive a copy of. Email address, contact information for all of us is on the slide there, and also the opportunity to stay in touch and receive updates if you're not getting our updates so far. And I know I think we had one question come in through the Q&A. What's the best way to reach out to contractors? And I will quickly say, in like the less than 120 seconds that we have left, that the Contractor's Guide to Success and contractor resources were developed really to help folks make connections to contractors, explain how the weatherization program works and what the opportunities are to expand their businesses or get into home and building energy performance if they're not in that space already. And one of the best things that I have heard agencies talk about is contractor like drop in for donuts and coffee really early, like 6 o'clock in the morning when contractors are hitting the road to start their day. So think about where they might be. And another suggestion that we've had from the network around contractors is posting flyers or postcards, like Kari referenced earlier, at your local building supply stores and distributors. And on that note, thank you so much for joining us for this hour of your Wednesday afternoon. This has been really fantastic conversation. Thank you, Jordan, Chris, Kari, and Destiny, and we will see you next time.